Hi everyone, I'm Marian O'Hearn from Gare. I'm here to show you how to do these cute little plates. See them? 4 of them, but I'm going to show you one of them. Very simple, very cute. I have the template for all 4, so you can do all 4 plates. You can do it on a circle or a square. The first step you're going to do is take your template. You're going to put the tissue paper on there, and then you're going to trace it with pencil onto the tissue paper. Now I already have my tracing with the tissue paper and the pencil on here. So I am going to put this here and just mark off where my eyes are going to be. So I'm just going to mark off the sides just a little bit with the marker, okay? So I'm going to do that. Okay. So you're going to put on coats of the white polar bear, and this is what you're going to do. You're going to put on like 2 coats, really just where the eyes are going to be, okay? Has to dry a little because you're going to put the paper down. This is just the easy way to do it, the easiest way to do it, I should say. Okay, so we're going to let that dry a little. So I know I got one eye here and one eye here, okay? Now, I've already cut out the eyes. So I copied an extra pattern so I could cut these out. And let's see, they go like this, okay? So now, once this is dry to the touch, which it is, I'm gonna take some water. I'm gonna use some water, and I'm gonna dip the paper in the water, and I'm gonna put this eye here where one eye would go, this eye where the other one would go. So I got my eyes in. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna sponge them down. And now, because I don't need all that white there, I'm just gonna kind of smooth it out a little around the eye to get rid of some of the white that I had there, because I don't need it. I just want the white under the eye. But you don't want to wipe it too much because you don't want to wipe those off. So if you see this close up, that's what it looks like. That's it, okay? So now I'm going to rinse this. I don't need this right now. I'm going to use the mochaccino. So I want this nice and solid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze out some mochaccino, and I'm going to put 2 coats on with a brush. Okay, so I'm going to paint right over these now. Paint right over the eyes. Now you can do the back side of the plate if you want to. I'm not going to for time's sake. So I'm going to go like this. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just the first coat. That's what one coat looks like. Okay, I'm going to do a second coat. You can see it's already starting to dry, so I'm going to start my second coat. Okay. Now try to go light with the brush so that, so that you're not pulling up the paint underneath. See how light I'm going with the brush? I'm not brushing the heck out of it. Then I'm going to let the second coat dry. Naturally, the longer you can let it dry between coats, the better off you are for pulling up paint underneath. So that's going to dry, and of course you can already see that starting to dry. Now the third coat I'm going to put on with a sponge, because 2 reasons. One, I want this to look like, if I do snowmen or gingerbread men, I like it to have that little spongy look, that little texture. So this is going to give it a little texture. You can see it's already dry enough for me to put this coat on. So now I'm going to sponge it. I'm going to sponge a coat on because that's what's going to give it the solid color. Make sure you do your edge. The other thing about the sponge is it's going to make it look all even, whereas sometimes brush strokes, you can't get it to look as even. Now, you could be a light applicator or a heavy applicator, I don't know, but this is 3 coats. So this has 2 coats with a brush, 1 coat with a sponge. Now, I would probably put a 3rd coat on just to make sure that this is nice and, well, this will be a 4th coat actually, but I would sponge on 1 more coat because I really do want it solid, okay? And I don't have to go over anything with the eyes over this color because I already got them blocked out. Okay, so it's starting to dry. I'm holding the plate down with where the eye is. So this is just putting 1 extra coat on. That should do it. And again, make sure you get your edge. If you're not going to do the bottom, get your edge. Make sure you have no globby stuff on there. And that's about it. Then you just want to let it dry. And you also should have a little pin to get the eyes up, because now you could take the eyes up. I do not have a pin where I'm sitting, so I'm just going to get it up with my fingers. There's 1. There's 2. So now I got my eyes. Do you see how nice and clean those eyes are? That's what makes it nice. Now, you're going to let this dry. After it dries, you're going to put the eyes in. You can go retrace everything if you want. So we're going to let that dry because it's going to take a few minutes before we can put the tissue paper over it to trace the rest. Okay, so now we're going to trace the rest of it on. So I'm going to get now that this is dry, I'm going to take my tissue paper. I'm going to line up where I put my eyes. Okay, and now I'm going to trace the rest of it on. So I'm going to trace my eye, the rest of my eye. If you don't want to trace the whole thing, you can just wing it and just put your own little face on here. Now, if you want to, because I didn't do it around here, but you can just trace your whole little thing also ahead of time. But I didn't need to do that. I'm just going to go around it with the white. But now I'm going to show you how to do the eye. So whenever I do an eye, I use a small brush. You're going to fill in. Do you see how you have this? You have this white here. So it's solid white. And then I'm going to do solid blue. That's why I didn't have to trace the black circle there. Although you can see through it if you do trace it. So now, I actually don't want it completely solid. So what I'm going to do is, this is what I do with the eye. I pull it in a little bit. so that it has little lines going all towards the middle like a regular eye does. So I'm going to do this one. See how I'm doing this? So it's only one coat of paint because they're just going to be a light blue. They don't have to be dark. Again, I'm going to pull it all towards the middle. Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to do the black. Just need a tiny bit of black. I'm going to use an even smaller brush. Well, actually, I'm going to keep this brush for a minute. Okay, now I'm going to take this and you can go and see how when I did this eye, you see how it's traced? You know, you can see where I put that circle where the black's going to go. So you're going to fill that in. Make sure they're circular. Then we'll go to the detail brush. If you go a little big on the eyes, you can just fix them by going a little bit bigger. Sometimes my eyes end up a little bit on the big side because I mess up. And you can always just bring it out a little bit more. So now that eye's a little bigger, so I'm going to have to do this one a little bigger. Meaning the black. Okay, so you want like 2 coats on the black. All right. Now I'm going to take this liner brush. This is just a little liner brush. I'm going to wet it and I'm going to put it, water down the black a little bit, even though a black is pretty fluid, just to put the eyelashes and the details. So in order to do that, you're going to I got a liner brush. Just bring the brush like down and up a little to get that little eyelash. Okay, I'm going to put a few on this side. This brush works really nice, as you can see. I'm going to outline the edge here. You can do that a little thicker than the lashes. You can see I got that a little bit heavier. Okay. Now I'm going to do the bottom. Same thing. Now, if you want it to look like the eye is like, you know, pushed in, like somebody took the eye and went like this and pushed it, the eyeball into like, if I do snowmen, I do that a lot. I look like, and the gingerbread too, but I try to make it look like someone pushed the eye in, like pushed it into the snow or pushed it into the fur. So now, so this is where you put some of these little lines that go up and over. So you can see this little line on each side that goes over. And one of them goes up. If you push it, if you put at the edge of the eye, you put one that goes up like that, it looks like the eye got pushed in. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Do the same thing with this side. Make sure you put your make sure when you're doing this, now you swoosh the little eyelashes. You got to use this liner brush. and that'll give you wispy eyelashes. The thing about wispy eyelashes is the way you get them is you get them by using a thin brush. This liner brush works really nice, this Moderna one that we have. And it works really nice to make eyelashes and stuff. So, and it's very wispy. The trick is to thin down the paint with a little bit of water so that your eyelashes go on a little thinner. And then that happened. So, I got to do my sides, the sides of the eye. Like I said, I'm going to do that a little bit thicker. I'm doing all this without my little reader glasses on, and so if it looks messy, it's because of that, because I can't really see what the heck I'm doing. I guess it's pretty good for not being able to see. All right, now I'm going to outline this too, which you don't have to, but I like it outlined. This is the most important part of this plate because it's what makes these pieces, is the eyes. So, there you have it. There's the eyes. Now, in order to make that eye look pop, you need to take one of these, the little fun writer, or you can use a brush to do this. Okay? And you want to put dots in the eyes. Now I'm going to put a big dot and a little dot. It's a big eye, and if I'm doing a big eye, then I want to make sure that I put more than one dot. If the eye is small, then I just do one dot. And then sometimes, because the eye's big, I might put a little highlight down here in the eye. Okay, so that's my eyes. You can see how cute they look. All right, now I'm going to take the red and I'm going to fill in this nose solid. You can do this with a brush or a fun writer. Whatever you like to do. Whatever makes it, you know, easier for you. It's easy to fill this in with the fun writer, because if I got to do this nose with a brush, I'm going to have to put a couple of coats over it, because I'd probably have to put at least 3 coats to cover the brown. So, but with the fun writer, you only have to do 1 coat. Now the mouth, I'm going to go back to this black, and I'm going to do my mouth. Now, I could use this with a fun writer too, but I'm not going to, because I got my brush right here and it works nice. I got the paint thinned down a little bit to make it a little more fluid, because it flows easier. So that's it. When I do this mouth, I just gonna fill that. I just fill it in solid. I just always do snowman faces, gingerbread faces like this. Now, I could put this thing here, but before I do that, I'm gonna take this brush. I mean the brush. I'm gonna wet it and dab it off. Okay. First, I want to get the black out of it. Now you want to wet it, dab it. Now I'm going to squeeze out a little bit. I only need a tiny bit of this red. Now, if you watch closely, you wet, you dab. Now I'm going to slide the color with my brush, which is kind of damp. Okay, it's got a little bit of water in it, and I'm just going to slide. So I'm going to slide the side of the brush. So I just got a little bit of red on the side, and that's what I'm going to put right here, because I want a little bit of red on the lips. If I don't feel like it's enough, I'm going to go put a little bit more. Do you see how I got that red in there? See the red in the lips? So there's a little bit of red there. Now I'm going to take the black. Now I can go and put this little thing like this. So that's what it looks like. Now the only thing I have left to do is the frosting around the face. Oh, and I do have eyebrows on this. So when I do gingerbread, guys, sometimes I do the eyebrows. I kind of wave them like this. And that's it. Now, if you trace that on, you can just follow your tracing. If you, I don't want too small of a tip on this because I want this kind of thick. Okay, so you can either follow your tracing or, because this one ain't, I don't like the way that one kind of went in a little bit. So I'm going to just go a little bit, like a 1/4 of an inch from the edge of my plate. And then I'm going to do this. This don't have to be perfect. The easiest way to do this is make sure you got some kind of support. Like I have, my finger is supporting over here on the face as I'm moving it down. I want it on a little bit of thick. And when I want something thin, I really use the Funwriter. I tilt it very, you know, on its side to get thin lines, but I don't need thin lines, so I'm holding a little bit more upright because I kind of want thick lines. Now, this is why I didn't trace this, because you really don't need to. You're just kind of doing a, you're just putting this frosting on. It doesn't have, the waves don't have to be just right. If I was to trace it, I'd end up going off anyway, because it's hard to control it over the lines. So I'm just gonna put it in there. And I do a little bit, and then I stop, turn the plate. See, I didn't go near my lines that I did start to trace. These eyes are a little bit bigger than my other eyes, as you can see, but this is just basically how I did it. If you can see the two of these, you can just do, you know, different. The other thing is like this eye, these eyes I did a little bit different than these eyes. These eyes are a little bit different. I wanted to make some different ones with different colors. So that's what you want to do. And while I am doing this, I'm going to show you this plate here. I made them sleeping, so I put the lines, and then I just did lines. Now, when I said wispy lines, I'm just going to show you so you have an idea. So if you're going to do a sleeping one, you're going to put your line in there, and you're going to make, I would do this. You can do this with the Funwriter, or you can do it with a brush. Now, if you do it with this little wispy brush, it works really nice. Like I said before, you want to thin down with water. You want to thin down the black a little bit. And then what I do to make those little thin lines is I bring them all down and I go across my whole little, you know, lash line. And then once I get them all down, then I go do some more, but I do them this way. Okay, then I do them this way, so that they're not just straight lines, they're wispy lines, you know. So do you see how that's like got a wispy look to them, because I'm doing them all, then I'm going over them a little bit, like I'm crisscrossing them a little bit. And that's what I did with this one, and the eyes on this one. So, but that's about it. So it's as simple as that. It's a simple plate, but I tried to make the eyes the important part of the plate. Okay, so that'll be it. So thanks for watching my video, and you just want to clear glaze it, dip it in clear glaze, and fire it to a cone 06, and It'll look shiny and beautiful just like this. So thanks for watching. Bye. See you later.